Well, hello everybody. It's getting towards Christmas here, and of course it's hot again. Today we're expecting 40 degrees, and for the next 2 or 3 days 42 degrees, so it's going to be hot. I think my last video I had fitted the front panel on. It's still not screwed at the bottom yet, but is pretty well in place. This time I fitted a door and the rear guard, as you can see here. Now the rear guard wasn't actually that hard to fit. In fact, the MGA ones were a lot harder, and the fit is really nice. The stainless steel beading is in there beautifully, fits perfectly, because it is the original, of course, and I buffed that up on a hard sisal wheel so that it hopefully wouldn't grab and wrap itself around the buffer, and then I finished it by hand. And really it wasn't terribly difficult to get all this together. It is just a bit fiddly. There's a few screws that are a little bit fiddly to get at. This is a reproduction handle, beautifully made. Came from AH Spares in the UK. I bought 2 of them. I was hoping to use the originals and get them replated. One of them had a crack in it, and I tried to heat it and silver solder it or braze it back together, and when I heated it, it melted. So it's obviously some sort of low temperature alloy, so that was beyond repair. So I thought I'd go and buy new ones. They're not cheap, but they're not ridiculously expensive, and probably the cost of plating the new ones, the old ones, would have come up pretty close to this. And they're good. They're really beautifully made and finished, and they fit very well. The door gaps, well, door gaps I'm pretty pleased with. You can see down there, that's nice and straight. The bottom, I won't get down on my knees to show the bottom, but the bottom gap is good. Now the top, I had a little bit of an issue here, because right at the top the gap is good, but right at the top here it was very tight. It cleared, but it was quite tight. And when I look at the original, this is the original shut face panel for that side, and you can see that there is a little mark at the top there where the door has been hitting over the years. So clearly it has got like that over a long time, or it never fitted properly in the first place. So that was going to be a little bit of a concern. It was also slightly lower. The door was slightly lower than the back scuttle area. So what I did was, there were no shims under any of these hinges when I stripped the car down. But what I did was I made a shim which fitted under the bottom hinge here. You can just see it there. It's made of brass. I might paint it just to make it not quite so obvious when I paint up the little door screws. And that's only 1 millimeter thick, which is probably about 40 thou, just under 40 thou I think. And that was enough to lift the back edge of the door up level and to open that gap up. So that's really all it took. I was surprised that it was such a small amount of thickness that made quite a large adjustment. So I'm really pleased with that. Here is the door check strap mechanism, which you'll be familiar with, I guess. I spoke about this in a previous video somewhere many years ago. I can't remember exactly where. That works really well. Works on a friction setup. Ingenious, very, very clever. So that as you open the door, it tightens up and holds the door open. So you just, that main nut there, the big one, is the one that you use to adjust it. So you open the door, you take this piece off here, undo this little nut, take that section off. You open the door, tighten up the big nut up there. One side is a left-hand thread. This one's a right. This one is a right-hand thread, normal thread. So you tighten that up so it just holds the door open, and then you put this plate and this screw back in to lock it into place. Very, very clever. The interior door locks are all fitted. That's the original interior door handle, which looked quite bad, but it's amazing how they polish up, and that's come up really well. So I'm going to reuse that. The door lock itself is in place. Probably not much point me trying to show it, but you never know. There it is, just hidden away in there. That was a bit fiddly to fit, but you know, not too bad. So that's the door. That's lined up. The gap is beautiful there. You can see the level is pretty good on there, and that fits very nicely. I'm very pleased with that. Now, I had hoped to be able to reuse these, but I'm not going to be able to. I think they're too badly knocked around. In fact, there's a little chunk missing out of the bottom of that, bit of corrosion on the back. So unfortunately, I've got to dive into my wallet again and buy some more. But Greg Kilmartin's over here in Ballarat in Australia make them. They make their own. In fact, they press their own aluminium so that it's exactly the same pattern as this. You can't buy that anymore. So I've ordered a set from them, and hopefully I'll get those in a couple of days, and then I can do this side and fit the door latches in place. The other thing I bought some stuff from the UK, is this Scuttle Seal here. I think this might be the wrong side for this one, but it is, yeah, that's for the other side. These are very, very difficult to fit, I believe. So when I come to do that, I might film that so that it's of some use to anybody who's fitting them. They've got to be riveted into place, and they're tricky. So that's progress so far. I can't think of anything else I need to talk about. I'm working on the other door, but I had a few paint blemishes which I needed to wet rub out, and I've had to respray some areas of that in a few places, and I'm just waiting for that paint to harden up before I carry on with that. But there we go. Progress has been made.